Did you know, in hell, your screams are like razor blades? They lacerate your own throat as you cry out. The more you scream, the more it hurts. The more it hurts, well, you can imagine. But I think the worst of it must be the loneliness, the isolation, the utter sense of abandonment. To be cut off from any sense of hope, any small affection somebody somewhere might have held for you, even for a fleeting moment. To be judged by God Himself to be unworthy of His presence, locked away in His cellar like some filthy little secret. I'll be perfectly honest. I'd lie to you in a heartbeat to get what I want. But I don't need to lie. The truth is the sharpest knife in my case, and deep down, I think you know that. Trust me, I'm a podcaster.
Welcome back to another episode of Spawnography. Hellspawn. I'm one of your hosts, Pierce Leiden. Pronouns they, them. Here with, as always,
George Marston, pronouns they, them, or she, her. That was probably my best spawnography monologue yet.
It was
You've
pretty
had
good.
some really good ones.
We've had some good ones. They're always fun when they're long because then
Yeah.
I get to find cooler music. Shout out to Freesound and all the folks that upload cool Creative Commons, basically unlicensed. They don't need any sort of recognition or payment because
They're like public domain.
Yeah,
free
public
music.
domain works. Honestly, it's just people sometimes like field recording stuff. And so, whenever it's just like one character monologuing, I still just get to find like people doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
So please use Freesound. I think it's really great. Donate some money. That's what I do. But yeah, Memon. This is an interesting arc that we're going to get into. But before we get into it, how you been, George? How was your weekend?
Pretty good. Generally pretty lazy. Had band practice on Friday, as is how things usually are.
Right. You're an incubus
then,
now, right?
Yes, actually I am. I'm actually, it's funny. I'm playing all the instruments and singing in Incubus. I am also being sued by the band Incubus that is more famous.
Right,
has
right, right.
5 people in it for using their name indiscriminately.
Well, I think it's because you decided to call yourself the original Incubus.
That was the Bandcamp and the website. It's all since been deleted, so you won't find it. But yes, and probably because all our songs sounded exactly like Incubus. And for the most part, I was just re-uploading their tracks to Spotify.
Yeah, well, you are something of a megalomaniac.
Oh, that's funny, Pierce. Say it again.
Speaking of megalomaniacs.
Oh my God.
What a weird few days it's been.
Look, I know this has been, as I was joking to Pierce before, this has been like Zoran Momdography, but he's just in the nation's spotlight and it's just getting weirder and weirder. Surely by now, this will be out a few weeks after we recorded, obviously. So God knows what.
By the time this is out, actually, he might be the mayor, actually.
Yes, and God knows what twists and turns reality will have taken, because of course this week Donald Trump was like, I actually fucking love this guy and I think that he's smart and he changed my mind about stuff.
Did you see today that Trump wasn't wearing like an ill-fitting suit?
He was wearing like a fucking like turtleneck, the Zoran Mamdani like burgundy turtleneck.
He looked like an old gay going to the theater. Like that's what he looked like. Uh,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
and like
Yeah,
that was meant complimentary. Like, and I
yeah.
didn't want to do that.
He looked like a British prime minister. Um,
Derogatory.
oh, absolutely. Couldn't possibly mean it in another way, no matter who it is. Um, much like a president. But no, seriously, I have two thoughts about it, and one of them is either. Well, actually, I have three thoughts. The least likely scenario to me is that Zoran Mamdani actually met with Trump and like, or I know he met with Trump, but that met with Trump and actually convinced him like, oh no, I have good ideas that will help people. And Trump was somehow like, oh yeah, okay, great, I actually get what you're saying because you talk to me somehow like a fucking adult instead of a sycophant or an enemy. Because that's kind of what Zoran Mamdani does. He addresses people directly, you
Yeah.
know. We saw him burn in Andrew Cuomo like infinite times in the debates and stuff, but Cuomo was teeing him up. So I think that's the like. There's a small chance of that. I think there's a small chance that he is trying to, maybe not a small, but a less likely chance that he is trying to like trick liberals into disliking Mamdani by making it look like he's cozied up with him,
Hmm.
which I don't think that would work.
No,
But
I
you
don't
could
think
see
so
how
either.
his sick mind and his weird sense of humor might get you there in this twisted reality we call life. Um, but then there's the other big possibility to me, which is they've been doing openly Nazi shit for fucking forever, and the military is pushing back against a lot of Donald Trump trying to be like, we're gonna go and kill all the liberals in every city, and he's trying desperately to pivot to reasonable conservative, at least in people's eyes, so
Yeah.
that he can build some kind of like, oh, well, Trump's not so bad. We're not going to be looking at ICE the same way. We're just thinking about how now he might say a nice thing.
I think what I took away from it was like, hey, this guy, I think, realizes that Trump has a huge ego, right? And I think what we're kind of seeing is that, like, with his poll numbers, like approval ratings at pretty much an all time low for either of his terms, with like public perception of his governance at an all time low, that he's
Yeah.
just like, fuck. And then here's the common thread between both Mamdani and Trump is that they both ran on like very populist notions.
Yeah.
Affordability is a very populist notion. Oh, okay, make things cheaper, make things,
Their
more affordable.
solutions to it were just different. Donald Trump's was like, hey, every brown person is stealing from you and we have to
Yeah.
send them to fucking camps.
And so the other part of it, I think, is that I like Donald Trump will eventually have to return to quote unquote normal life. I realize that he's like 80 years old, but eventually, but like he's from New York. He's going to have to go back to New York, or he'll probably want to, except for Mar-a-Lago. But you know what I mean?
Right.
He's got multiple places that he lives, but
That's where he was born and everything. That's like his
right.
original.
I think Mamdani even says like, "Oh yeah, we talked about the pharmacist on Hillside Avenue that his dad used to go to when he was a kid or
There's
whatever."
been a
It's
lot of
like
made
crazy.
about them of being like both from Queens.
Yeah, which
And
you know,
again, Zoran
one of our lower
Mamdani,
points.
not an uncanny political agent, a very canny one,
Yeah.
where he is able to understand how to meet someone on their level, it seems. Andrew Cuomo, we just talked about that, was trying to fire off fucking like shots across his bow, and
Yeah.
he was just like Wonder Woman bracelet, like winging them back.
Yeah.
So like we've talked about the way he interacted with different like constituents and journalists and stuff, where he was able to meet them and talk about their needs in a compelling way and in a
Mhm.
way that made it seem like he understood them, and he probably does. I feel like he is certainly a truly
based on
compassionate person.
based on the choices for his cabinet, or cabinet, is that what you call it for a mayor,
Sure,
or
I don't
just
know.
staff, whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's encouraging to see a diverse group of people who have a diverse group of expertise, who allow him to be like, I don't know everything about this. I hired a person who does, which
Well,
is
and
what I have
also,
heard from anybody that's worked on his campaign is like he's very quick to be like, I don't know everything about this. So please teach me about it so that I can speak to it with some sort of expertise. However, I can defer to the actual experts.
so he's also just building that sort of like base for himself, not base in terms of like his political base, that foundation for
Yeah.
himself, where he is, again, probably very easily able to talk to Trump on whatever level will actually get him to listen to you,
Yeah.
whatever level that is, because he seems incredibly easy to influence.
It's really, I mean, that whole thing, like, I mean, the fascist thing specifically sticks out, right? Where a journalist is straight up just like, on the campaign trail, he called Donald Trump a fascist. Donald Trump waving it, and as he's about to respond, waving him off and being like, nah, you don't have to, just say yes. It's easier. It's easier than explaining.
And
Like,
it's like that is the most insight you will ever get into the real Donald Trump, right there.
yeah.
Don't matter. I don't care if you say I'm a fascist as long as I don't have to explain myself.
What's very
And
weird is like behind closed doors, I'm sure Donald Trump was like, it's like that story about Bill Murray bartending. Have you ever heard this? Like,
I'm sure
there's
I
like
know
a,
the story about like him going into like eating the guy's food and being like,
or
"Oh,
there,
what
yeah,
is
or
this?"
maybe it was that. Maybe it was that. Sorry, it was that. He like eats a guy's like French fries that was eating outside or whatever, and he goes, "Sure, say something. Like nobody will believe you." And like
Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing. Like he could have said to Zoran behind closed doors, like, "Yeah, I'm totally doing this is just a grift, but you can say that, and that's never going to have any weight. So how about we just play nice here, and you can keep doing your thing and keep your base, and I'm just
yeah.
going
I
to
don't
sort
know.
of try to rehabilitate my
That might even have been like the strategy. I don't think Trump is that smart. Either way, the other thing is like his cabinet, I think probably a lot of people were expecting him to like hire like Greta Thunberg or something,
yeah.
or like, oh,
Which
we
like
have a clone of Joseph Stalin.
yeah.
Like here's an
Marx
Antifa
is now a
teenager.
head in a jar that we are
Yeah,
consulting every single
Futurama
day.
style.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
here's our new police commissioner, a 17-year-old Antifa super soldier.
How is that not how has that not been a Captain America yet?
I mean, there have been a few. Like there was the Captain America of the Runaways,
The rail
uh,
of the
of the
rails
railways.
of
Sorry,
the
my
railways.
mistake.
The gay
You're so
Captain
right.
America,
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Who?
which you know what
Well,
though,
look,
Steve
I
Rogers.
also the gay Captain America.
That's what I'm saying.
I boy, I think it was Christopher Cantwell who
I
created
boy
that.
also queer.
Yes, very true. First off, here's a fact that actually is very interesting that you might want to hear,
Prove it.
which is that my opinions that I'm about to state are not reflected by my employer on any level.
Are you sure?
Positive, because here's what
Ooh,
happened.
only fools are positive.
Well, in this case, I'm a fool
Okay.
because I'm certain that my opinions, in a legal sense, that I'm about to express are not reflected on any legal sense, in any legal way, in any social way
By
by
your
my employer.
employer, Zora
Future is
Mamdani.
right. Yes. Well, technically, the headquarters for U.S. is in New York, so um, yeah, there you have it.
Hmm.
Anyway, this is also a matter of public record because social media is a public record.
Hmm.
Um,
Wait, so anything we say here can and will be held against us in the court of law?
well, I think so,
Oh,
which is why I'm saying that it doesn't reflect anything about my employer so vehemently and vociferously. But also, it's not really something bad that I'm about to say. It's just something dumb. I've prefaced it so much it could never possibly be worth any of this. because of your many jokes and jests, Pierce. Well, anyway, uh, Christopher Cantwell, I think, created that character. Is Aaron Fisher is the character's name, and it was in the like Cap Across America thing.
Hmm.
When they announced that, I wrote the news story about it for Newsarama at the time, and I put the fact that he was notably queer in the headline, not in what I felt was a salacious way, but in a way that I thought was just like, hey, this is cool. A matter of fact, kind of like, this is what's new about this character. Now, this is a few years ago, right? Before it was like really hard to interpret what someone means when they put that somewhere, it can
Yeah.
be used for a lot. It's a lot more often used for shock value and stuff at this point. Anyway, Christopher Cantwell the writer responded to the tweet of the story and was like, of course, this writer uses this to sensationalize and denigrate this character, something like that. And I just was like, hey, as the person who wrote this story and helped come up with the headline, just wanted you to know that I thought this was cool because this character, as I say in the story, reflects my personal experience in some ways.
Yeah.
And he was
Thanks for
just
only
like,
reading the headline.
I'm sorry. He was responding to some other dickhead's comment.
One thing I've
So
said to so many comic book folks over the years is just like, stop.
don't respond. You can't win.
Did you see actually this thing recently? Some TikToker
No.
responded to a book review.
Nope.
Somebody on like Threads or whatever, because Threads has a very weird algorithm that
It's
I
all
don't
like
quite.
brands talking to
It's
each other.
it's
I
cra-
don't have a threads.
That's fine. It's like X or Twitter or
Yeah, I
whatever or
know.
Blue
It's like a
Sky,
short form like
but
text
it's
posting.
linked to your Instagram, and then so like keywords and things that you post about end up like showing up. So if you're an author, your name, if your name or your stuff is out in the ether, you're going to see it in your threads even though you don't follow those people. Like you don't
Right.
have control over what you see.
Ugh,
So much like Instagram now. So
yeah.
this TikToker who wrote a book responded to the person just being like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry that you didn't like my book. Uh I guess I'll try to do better next time, but I'm sorry. Like please
I've
like
gotten
return it
that
if you didn't
email
like
from
it."
another comic creator with that exact message, directly and privately, though, who I won't name.
Yeah, but like
Probably
and
don't
I
even
have
know the
definitely gotten
podcast.
I've definitely gotten those before where they're like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Or I've gotten the, "Oh, I saw you're going to review my thing. Is it going to be good? Like is it going to be good?" And
Sometimes people are very
I think a lot of creators just don't understand that that is like the power dynamic is like super in their favor.
right.
So for you to do that to a critic or even a casual reader fan that is like posting those things, and also this was like super nice. She was just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry you didn't like it. Like,
Right.
like please return it if you didn't like it. Like it's my first book. Like I don't know what to tell you,
Yeah.
but I do." I think I've told this story before, but I jumped on a thread on Twitter like years ago with Scott Snyder and Greg Pak. Uh, they were talking to a fledgling comic book writer who was like, "Oh, I'm looking for advice or whatever," and a bunch of people were chiming in. It was really cool. It was like very collaborative and sort of like people were giving good advice. And one of the things I responded, and you at reply fucking everybody who's on the thread, and I was like, "Don't care what critics say. Just make your stuff. Like just do your thing and
Yeah, absolutely.
do not care what critics say." And like, I got messages from people in the industry just being like, oh my God, I got so worried when I saw that you had replied to it. And I was like, don't worry. Like you guys and all of you do the thing. I just write about the thing.
I
So
think,
you're fine.
yeah, 100%. And I think that if you chase critical approval as your primary goal,
You'll never make a book that
you
fans like.
you'll never make a book anyone likes or never make
True.
a thing anyone likes because people can tell when they're being marketed to or condescended to.
Yeah.
And also, I've said this before, criticism is not a be all end all recommendation of what is objectively good and bad. It is not the ultimate argument settler. It's not rock rot rule.
We're not Ronald Thomas
No,
Montel
noted
out here.
author Ronald Thomas Clontel. No. But what I'm saying is, you should just create your thing, because if you're passionate about it, that's what comes through. And critics don't matter. I say this much like you, as someone who is still very much a critic,
Yeah.
a media critic who writes a lot of like opinion criticism at this point, about film and television and other media. I have more of those coming, so
It's
that's just.
impossible to be objective about, right? You're always bringing yourself to
Yes,
it.
100%. Even if you have objective understanding of the craft behind it, you still have a subjective taste to reckon with. And that's something that, like, okay, there was the Chainsaw Man movie
Oh yeah.
recently.
You liked it,
Fucking
right?
ruled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
I
Excuse me.
watched like the first 2 episodes of that show and I was like,
Oh, it
"Okay,
gets so much better as it
there's a dog
goes.
with a chainsaw head. I'm fine with it."
You didn't even get to the origin
I've
story.
been very into Gundam G-Quux.
Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so. It's got
Okay.
like 8 U's. So
I've been recommended a lot of stuff lately. Chainsaw Man is worth watching the whole first season because it is fucking devastating.
yeah, all right.
It is so much more emotional than the opening like thing kind of makes you think.
Hmm.
And it's not about a dog with a chainsaw face,
No, I
although it
know.
kind of is. It kind of is. Anyway, there was a whole thing going on in the Chainsaw Man fan community, which is admittedly very young compared to me, where people were deeply upset by this review published by The Guardian, where the reviewer had admittedly never seen any other Chainsaw Man.
And just like
And
watched an anime movie.
well, because it was such a huge
Yeah.
movie that like everybody reviewed it. You know what I mean? People who knew and didn't know, and some people were like, "This is great," and some people weren't. It doesn't matter. The point is, the quote unquote the fan community, so to speak, were like, only fans the only people who should review movies are fans who are summarizing the feelings of the community.
Oh,
And
no, I
it's
hate
like,
that.
no, that's a very juvenile perspective, and you're allowed that because you're probably a teenager or whatever. But also, like, that's just not what criticism is, and it's not a determination of whether a movie is like truly good or bad. My favorite movie of all time is Hackers, a movie that is arguably like cheeseball ridiculous, and
Disagree.
also a fucking stupendous masterpiece of teen culture.
Yeah.
So I don't give a shit about whether a critic says it's good or bad. There are critics whose opinions I trust and who I think have interesting perspectives, but it's a conversation. It's not saying what's good or bad or cool or not cool, or who's good or bad or cool or not cool for liking what. And yeah.
Yeah. Also, too, like I think that listen, I have plenty of critics, film critics, and comic book critics that I really like that
Hmm.
have definitely shaped my tastes. But I don't agree with them all the time,
No.
uh, and that is part of the discovery of your own taste is being like, oh, I really like this person's opinion. Oh, I watched this thing and I have the opposite opinion. What are they talking about? That's
Yeah.
crazy. And then you start to learn a lot about yourself. We keep doing this show. We are in an era of Spawn, and to sort of bring it back a little bit, but we're in an era of Spawn that a lot of people kind of write off. And to this point, I would say up until this arc, we've been kind of pushing back against that idea of like
Yeah.
we've been kind of saying like, hey, actually, there's some good stuff here, and now we're getting in the weeds a little bit with this Thousand Clowns arc. I do think that the line expanding out into Hellspawn was kind of fun and was like a cool experiment and had some cool new voices and
You can see
artistic
how it
styles.
ties into this, as we've said many times.
Yes. And this arc feels like we did this already.
A little bit. I don't hate it, but Pierce, I hate to delay us further,
Sure.
And I also hate to bring it back to politics. I'm so sorry, but there is
That's
one
fine.
thing. I think this is actually going to shock some of our listeners. I think there are going to be some.
Are you coming out as a Republican?
No,
Okay. All right.
absolutely
That might
not.
shock our listeners. I don't
Well, it
know.
would, but this is a smaller shocker. But it is actually about some changes in some of my political opinions, and I think that you'll be interested to hear this.
Okay.
So I've come around on an idea that you've really been pressing me on.
Okay. Oh boy.
I guess Herbie should have rights.
Hey.
However,
hey.
I have one caveat.
Oh,
We're going to meet in
no.
the middle, okay? Herbie can have rights, but he can't have a funeral.
What do you mean?
He's not
What
a
if
living
it's in his
thing.
will?
He doesn't get a will. No.
Wait,
no.
why?
Because
it's a legal document. He's got rights. He can write a will. He's sentient.
Does that
See,
kind of rights.
We're gonna come back to this another episode. You got to think about that one. I have to think about it.
He just can't.
No,
have
that's not up to you to decide. That's up to Herbie to decide.
I think it's up to God.
I disagree. That's my Subway take.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my Subway take.
A hardline atheist.
Oh boy. Anyway, on this note,
he just shouldn't have a funeral. Okay. Can we agree on that?
No.
So what am I even saying here? I guess he can't have rights after all. How about that? I tried, liberal.
All right, listen. I'll consider it.
I'm just saying that you'll never get your point of view across if you're not willing to make compromise and you're not willing to sacrifice. I mean, there's only one Herbie in the world. You're really gonna go for a Herbie?
That's not true.
When
there's two.
Clones aren't people.
You're ignoring the love bug.
That's it. Okay. Well, now we're not going to give Cars rights.
He's an actor. He's
actor
sentient. He's
Kirby,
alive.
Okay. The actor who plays Kirby can have rights.
Yeah.
Herbie. Not Kirby. Herbie. Did I say Kirby? Kirby is a fucking cartoon. No rights at all.
No, he's not real.
Okay. Well,
although,
you know who...
he and Donald Trump seem to have something in common.
They fucking suck.
In more ways than one.
Yeah. Dude, can you imagine that fucking hair bobbing up and down?
Nope. We're stopping this now. We're stopping this now.
Of that.
We're stopping this now. I'm just imagining that if Kirby sucked up Donald Trump, he gets the ill-fitting suit and the toupee.
And then he's president. We'd have President Kirby.
President Kirby, who doesn't
driving around in Herbie.
Exactly.
With vice president.
With Herbie.
Who's the Secretary of State.
Right.
We're 30 minutes into this recording.
Yeah, I have to cut so much of this.
I know, dude. I'm so sorry. Don't cut the fact that Herbie doesn't get a funeral.
No, which was the easiest thing to cut. I now forget my segue altogether. I was about to get into the issues. You're gonna be mad when I start speeding through these issues.
Pierce hit me with the credits.
Hold on a second. Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
We're just little Dickens today.
Oh boy. We're stinkers. We're just a couple of stinkers. Listen, all right. So, speaking of criticism, as I was saying, Jesus fucking Christ. God. With our show, we are critics of this stuff, but we're also trying to engage with it in a really legitimate and real way. And the Spawn-munity at large has kind of said read to 100, then skip a bunch of stuff because it doesn't go anywhere, and then check back in later when Al comes back. And at first we were very much defending that, and we were saying, hey, we kind of disagree. I think there's some good stuff here. There's some things happening. We think Angel Medina is kind of coming into his own. This arc is kind of, I get it now. I sort of get it. I kind of get, it's a lot of half-baked ideas kind of smushed together, a little bit of stuff that we've kind of seen before. And it ends, we'll get to the end when we get to the end. This ends infuriatingly. Like in a way that I'm like, this isn't how stories are told, and what the fuck are we doing here? And why did this take 5 issues? I want my money back, and I paid for the compendium. Like,
Well, look, I
yeah,
mean, here's the thing: is that there's two things. I have two thoughts about that, and we're going to continue on solely with Spawn. I'm sure from now on, there's, you know what, Pierce, it'll be easy to edit. You're smart.
it'll be fine.
Um, I kind of like this arc, okay, in terms of the concept. I didn't hate it. There are times when I was like, we actually haven't seen a Spawn story that's quite like this. We've seen many, but I'll explain in a minute. But then, as you said, there's a lot of like very generic moments, a lot of shit that feels very perfunctory, a lot of shit that feels like it's there. This could have been 2 issues very easily. There's but here's why it doesn't feel breezy and fun to me the way that some of the previous arcs have, and we'll get into this as we go through these 3 issues, which I think we're going to try to peel through pretty quick because most of it is a fight.
Yeah.
I think that the thing that makes this less fun and harder to read and a little less engaging is that the art is very inconsistent, and it's
Yeah.
been getting less consistent in ways that are consistently frustrating. Specifically, there's a couple spots that I started out with this where I was like, okay, getting back on track with some of this. We hit another one of those double page spreads that is absolutely fucking decimated
Yeah.
by the format of what a double page spread even is in a comic book. Um, that said, I thought it was fine. I liked parts of it. I like what's going on with Memon and Nyx more than what's going on with Violator and Spawn at this point. But we'll get into that as we go forward. Without any further ado, Pierce, hit me with the credits.
All right, we're going to get into Spawn number 136. Todd McFarlane Image Comics present A Thousand Clowns Part 3. Plot by Todd McFarlane and Brian Holguin. Story by Brian Holguin. Pencils by Angel Medina. Inks by Danny Miki. Victor Olazaba, Alan Martinez, and Crime Lab Studios. Lettering by Tom Orzechowski. Colors by Brian Haberlin. Cover by Greg Capullo. It's a cool cover. It's like a Violator up on a chimney
Mm-hmm.
type one, which is cool with McFarlane inking. So looks
Nice.
legit. Dedicated to the Todd McFarlane Productions design department, which is cool.
Hey, good for
So,
them. They deserve it. Yeah.
Should I read the summary? I think I should, because I think it's
Yeah. Let's
yeah.
just do it. Let's just do it.
Spawn 135 summary. The Fleabiac Brothers Pandemonium Circus has a brand new edition, Hellspawn Patheticus. Contained by the Dead Zone, Spawn is put on display and taught a lesson on just how truly evil and twisted the clown is. Still troubled by the offer Memon gave her, Nyx turns to her old friend Lily with hopes that she'll help Nyx save Thea's soul. Lily makes it clear she wants nothing to do with it, stating that the best help she can provide would be to pray for both Nyx and Thea. With his own psyche being invaded by Memon, Spawn summons the strength to attempt one final escape.
So
This
yeah.
first page with Nyx, she's decided she's going to make a deal with Memon for Thea's soul. She has this. Now
She's
it's
trying to decide. She hasn't decided yet. She's got
true.
this
True.
piece of Spawn's cape. The last time she tried to enlist her other friend to who had become religious to save their third friend Thea, who was trapped in hell by Memon. We had covered it extensively. So and she's got that little bit of Spawn's cape or whatever that's wrapped around her finger.
But now it's just kind of a string, because with Spawn in the Dead Zone, it's not coming to life, kind
Right.
of. It doesn't have that sort of
And she
symbiote
can't
quality.
sense him or detect him the way she can when she usually hasn't. She's debating because what Memon wants is he wants her to sell out Spawn and
Right.
he'll release Thea. Meanwhile, back in Crime Alley, in Rat City rather, Spawn is getting poked by a clown. I love this panel of him with a giant chain around his neck laying in the garbage with like his blood and the cape kind of running together. And it's confirmed that he doesn't have his powers, even his like necroplasmic body, because of the dead zone, because
Right.
now he kind of switches between human and Spawn. Um So the clowns are bugging him, and they decide to, or they unchain him because Violator's waiting for him. He's ready to take him away. Back in Nyx's apartment, she's with Mem on, and he is kind of mocking her. He's saying like, "What's that sound? It almost sounds like the inconsolable sobbing of the eternally damned." Gives her a vision of Thea on the TV, and it says, remember, in the end, only you can save her. Please give till it hurts. 1-800-555-THEA.
Got a question about these 3 black panels.
Mm-hmm.
Was there something there, and then
No, I think that is Spawn being unconscious.
is that all it is?
Yep, I think that is just an
Because
artistic.
one of the things I kind of read here in terms of like the weird sort of storytelling across these issues is that like there's a lot of adjusting after the fact. Like the art came in and then they were like, fuck, okay, what do we got to do?
Yeah, I
And
think this is an artistic choice more than
okay,
anything.
I don't think it's a good one.
Yeah, it's kind of boring. It looks weird.
Yep.
I think it almost looks like they wanted to leave it to the effects and the colorist or whoever just blacked it in, or the inker. I don't know, but yeah, I think that it's Thea fading to black and Spawn kind of fading from black.
We're
Like,
also like we are hard cutting so quick between stuff that like typically you're to think that like there's a lot of tension there, right? There's a lot of like, oh my god, like things are happening at the same time. But not really, because Spawn's just laying on the ground again in the midway, right? Like he now doesn't have,
yeah, it clowns like weird circus.
yeah, like he's just laying on the ground again, and we're like, okay,
I do like
he
this next page, where he gains consciousness, turns back into Al, and realizes his body is just fucking destroyed, and immediately switches back to Spawn.
yeah, he's getting into a Darkhawk kind of situation
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
where they almost like switch places more than
Yeah,
they are themselves. You know what I
in
mean?
a way, yeah. You almost could do a Rick Jones Captain Marvel kind of
Oh
thing,
yeah, that too, definitely.
but that would be an interesting dynamic between Al and Spawn. Almost what was going on with Clown and Jason Wynn before Clown took over Jason Wynn's body. So Spawn realizes he's out of the dead zone, back in the again Violator slash Clown circus. He is walking through this hall of posters where he sees a poster that says the combustible man, Master Day Hellfire,
Do kind
and
of
it's
love that
him.
panel. Do
It's
kind of
him
love
on
that panel.
fire. He's saying, "Is this a joke?" It is a good panel. I like the. There is a great separation of Spawn from the poster in terms of like line weight, color.
Yes,
Really good. It can be tough to show an object that is meant to look two dimensional in a two-dimensional image that is meant to look three-dimensional. You know what I
agreed,
mean? You
agreed.
can
Do you think that we're feeling a little bit of the 3 inkers plus a studio of inkers in this issue?
somewhat. I think there's a lot of heavy black, and I don't mind that actually.
I
I'd
don't either.
rather in these pages, I'd rather the background should be solid black than if it's.
I just think that the poster art is not consistent. Like as soon as we get to the next page, I'm like, oh, the posters look kind of bad now.
I don't think they look that bad. I think it's just a
They're not
matter
consistent with
of.
the first one though.
I think they're fine. I think the colors change a lot, and I think that that's one of the issues is that the colors of the combustible man poster look very they look like old school paper.
Yeah, like
They look
classic
like
freak show.
old, yeah, like old Midway posters. Meanwhile, the astonishing freak and um the hunger artist, aka Billy Kincaid, they're on like a strange like blue gray
Yeah,
background, so it
doesn't work as
loses
well.
some of the midway charm. You get don't turn your back on Judas. You get the fallen angel who is kind of
Probably it's
maybe the
Redeemer.
redeemer, yeah. And you get Spawn just kind of being like, I'm not a muse, as he walks through the the circus tent hearing calliope music, as it says, which is of course the classic like which that piece is called the I think it's the March of the Gladiators. It was
Hmm,
originally written to be played like ba 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 da 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 da, like very slow and pompous, and it's meant to sound like gladiators entering a stadium,
that's cool.
and they sped it up and used it for a circus. Um, so yeah, there you have it. And it's talking about the music kind of getting crazier and louder and weirder. And as he approaches, you get Clown Carnival barking again.
Yeah,
As we've had in previous issues, this is another one of those double page spreads where Clown is just totally centered, and because of the
just gets
compendium,
eaten up by the middle of the page.
cannot see it. Not the worst example that we'll get into in this story. I like the renderings of the clowns with all their different makeup shapes. I like, the monologue he's doing.
Yeah, no, I like what he's doing here. Again, I like Orzakowski's work in terms of the lettering. The papyrus for heaven is kind of funny.
It is.
The papyrus font that gets used for that, but
Yeah, and
on the whole, this is fine. He's but he's taunting Spawn.
he
I also
explains.
do
Go
like
ahead.
Angel Medina's like weird. I'm continuing to like his weird Jason Wynn clown. Like I think it's
Yeah.
cool. I think it's like an interesting like way to do these characters.
And yes, I agree. I totally agree. And I also like it has it okay. So that's one thing I like about this arc, is that to me it has actually elevated both Jason Wynn and Clown in a way, to have them come together like this. It's almost like the Luther Brainiac combo.
Yeah,
Um Also, here Clown says to Spawn that Cagliostro has locked himself away and left hell to the wolves, basically, to
yeah,
fight amongst themselves. Still barking, Clown sets up a world heavyweight championship, basically a clash of champions, a tussle between titans, a grand melee for all time. And he introduces Spawn. He introduces himself as the Perio of Perdition, but I think he means the Pierrot of Perdition,
hmm.
uh, which is Pierrot is a French clown, of course. If you know the song Claire de Lune,
Oh yeah.
the lyrics, to my room on moonlight comes the
I
clown
like
Pierrot.
this
Pierrot.
transformation sequence. I think it's cool.
Oh yeah, it looks great. I love the panel where he's saying "Death on two legs," and he's turning into the Violator, and it's just the weirdest point in the transformation,
Yeah,
and like his weird gut is like extending and stretching, and then this splash page of Violator attacking Spawn, fucking sick.
yeah.
One of the best splash pages we've had in several issues. I
I do
love
think that the art is kind of downhill over the course of these three issues.
I agree. There is a point coming up. This next double page spread here, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. It's one of those like cross page like double
Yeah,
spreads. The lettering is easier to follow. It follows a more kind of logical chain for your eye, rather than going in a Z shape. It goes right to left, right to left, right to left, the way you might expect.
yeah,
And I do like Orzakowski's dripping slime lettering for Violator.
yeah. Super cool.
And yeah, the fight scenes here, Violator just throwing Spawn around with his tongue basically and taunting him. And he says, I like that he says, uh, he's kind of telling him like basically like wrestling stuff, like you got to sell it to the cheap seats. You got to
Yeah,
put on a good performance. I like it. He said he beats him up and he says, now show them your good side and toss off a line of heroic dialogue. Spawn just says, shut up.
Yeah,
So
and
maybe
and he like responds like, "All right, maybe we'll punch that up in editing," which is like whatever, that's fun.
ironic. Uh, I like the crowd of clowns kind of all calling out.
There's a lot of really fun stuff. I like this the flying kick that Spawn does on the
Yeah,
next page as Violator is doing his kind of like villain monologue, sort of monologue to the
it's almost
crowd.
yeah, it's almost like he's commentating on his own fight. Did you ever see Jay and Silent Bob reboot?
No, I refuse.
Well, good instinct. I will say it has one moment in it that I legitimately at this point, I can't tell if it is some of the worst filmmaking I've ever seen or some sort of weird sublime genius that I just don't understand.
uh, with Rome or without?
Ooh, oh no, we don't need him. Did we talk about this?
That he's
That
yes, we did.
he's now sublime with
He's
Rome,
Rome,
formerly of
formerly of
Sublime with
Sublime with
Rome.
Rome.
Yes. Towards the end of the movie, they show up at a comic convention where Kevin Smith is giving a presentation. Throughout Kevin Smith's presentation, Jay and Silent Bob, through the action of the movie, are like interrupting everything and calling attention to themselves, and wacky, crazy shit's unfolding. And as it unfolds all around them, Kevin Smith himself is standing on the stage in his own movie, giving these like Bugs Bunny, like Looney Tunes esque reaction shots at like what's going on. Like it'll be some weird action in the crowd, then it'll cut to Kevin Smith and he'll be like, "Oh," and like, or he'll be like, "Oh, geez," like, oh, like making some like cartoon expression. And I don't know if that's genius or stupid.
Well, I think when you smoke that much weed, that's funny to you.
Maybe it would have to be a lot. I'm just gonna say from
He
experience, it
came
would
to it
have to be
late,
a
though.
lot.
Keep in mind, he came to it late.
From experience, it would have to be a lot. I'm
Fair.
just going to tell you that from people I know and their life experience, it would have to be a lot to think that's funny. Or maybe a little. I
He's
don't
pretty
actually
rich.
know. He's very rich. And you know what? Good for him.
Yeah. Kevin Smith, come on
Good
the
for
pod.
him. He put clerks on his credit card. All right. So Violator is beating the crap out of Spawn. The audience is chanting to kill him, kill him, kill him. And Violator taunts him with one last insult. He says, "We may be old foes, but we both know full well who your worst enemy is. It's that fellow who stares back at you whenever you make the mistake of gazing in a mirror." I kind of like the voice we've developed for Clown here, where he's not like, "Hey, baloney farts, what's your ugly butt smell like?"
I think that that it is Violator maturing as with Malbolgia gone, he wants to step up and take the throne, right? So he has sort of taken on a more arch villain sort of voice, if that makes sense. That
Yeah,
he's
he
kind of
well,
filling
and
the
he's
void.
also blended a little bit with Jason Wynn, where again, like
Right.
you said, he's a little less like crude and weird, and a little more like ominous and like sarcastic.
Yeah. And the normal clown stuff still comes through, as they're fighting and
Just
he's
normal
saying
clown
like,
stuff.
yeah, normal clown stuff comes through where he's saying like, oh, he says abandon all hope and punches Spawn and Spawn says no, never, and that's a cool kind of hero pose for Spawn, which is great. Um, he goes into like a whole like now it's time to poll our studio audience. Do we send our contestant packing or do we send him on to the next round? And he's like still doing the carnival barker, ringleader,
Yeah, ringmaster.
ringmaster. Kind of thing. That's a cool panel, honestly, of Violator. Violator's a cool character because he's so spindly. Like we know he's super powerful, but he's so thin and weird that you're
He's
just kind
very
of like,
spidery or
ugh.
something.
Yeah. And
Um,
they're saying, please vote now. Obviously, the vote now thing feels a little American Idol, which would be a little bit of the time. It's a little after its time, or like Survivor, I suppose, reality TV in general. Um,
Yeah, I mean, this would have been around the height of like all that shit.
yeah, all the voting shows, we still do them, I guess. But the crowd kind of, speaks up and says, destroy him, destroy him. Mob has spoken. And he says, that was just the beginning. I haven't even begun to break you. And he gives him a kiss with these big, big lips, which is funny.
Yeah.
And he says, "Good night, sweet prince." And we cut back to Nyx.
Yeah, as he kisses him, all of Manhattan blacks out.
And Nyx is just like, "Oh my god, what's going on?" And we just kind of end with the clown posse, an insane clown posse, if you will,
Yeah.
saying, "Get comfy, folks. It's going to be a wild, dark night and a long time till dawn." And that's kind of where we end this one.
I know we've talked about Thy Unveiling on this podcast,
I think we have, yeah.
where the Juggalos are revealed to be Christians.
Oh, yeah, we have, definitely.
And so I just want to say for these guys, may the Juggalos find God as they deserve. Yeah. Now, okay. The thing that here, I'm going to say something. There was a point where I said this earlier where I was reading this where I was like, oh, I haven't really seen a Spawn story quite like this in a while. And then I remembered
the Billy Kincaid story where he's a ghost.
Well, not even that. It's the vampires.
And that too. We just did
were
that.
like
we just did 2 versions of this story.
Granted, Billy Kincaid was a longer time ago. Much longer.
When he was a ghost taking people over?
Yeah,
it wasn't. But I mean, it was still within Holguin's run, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, it was
for sure. Not the same as like the vampire arc, which was like 2 arcs ago.
I think one of the problems, and we'll get into this in final thoughts more, but like one of the problems that we're having is like we are kind of like learning that the Holguin McFarlane team up is leading to, we don't need to make better villains, we just need to make more.
Right.
I think Mammon has been interesting. However, he also doesn't really do anything. Cagliostro is kind of interesting, but he's almost
admittedly not part of it anymore.
Right. And so like we got a lot of vampires, we got a lot of ghosts, we got this, and this feels a little bit more of a culmination of those things. We'll get into it, but
yeah. Meanwhile, we get to Spawn number 137. So Pierce, you know what to do. Hit me with those credits.
They're all exactly the same, so I won't read them again. But this issue is dedicated to Michael Kahn, who I forgot to look up. And he is a film editor.
Great.
Who worked on
films.
A lot of really good movies, actually. Close Encounters, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark. Did he work on Spawn? Because he worked on Toy Soldiers.
Oh, wow.
Did he work on Spawn? He did not, but I guess they must have met because he also worked on like Jurassic Park. He was a Spielberg guy, so he must have met him through ILM and all those guys, because the ILM guys did direct Spawn. So, is he still working? Yes, he is literally still working. He is 94 years old.
Wow.
And he is working on untitled Steven Spielberg film 2026, which is the he's doing another alien movie, like a movie with aliens, not like an alien movie. But now he works with a co-editor, Sarah Brochard, because she was an intern for him, and he's extremely old. So,
well, isn't that something?
That fucking rules, actually.
Yeah, that's great.
I really hope that Spawn fans are looking at these dedications and looking into who these people are to like just learn a little bit. Like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is 1,000 Clowns Part 4.
1,000 Clowns is my favorite Slipknot record.
I mean, We get the talking heads. We haven't seen them in so
I was gonna
long.
say it's been a minute. It's been probably 100 issues. It feels like,
Angel
or
Medina's
less
talking
than that.
heads
But
are really fun because Connie Chung here has a less severe haircut.
yeah,
She's letting things loose a little bit. The first gay character in all of Spawn has his
uh-huh,
mustache back, which is
yep,
important.
hmm,
And the conspiracy theory guy, he's losing his hair more, I guess, seemingly,
yeah.
or has a buzz cut. I don't really know
Which
what's
maybe,
going
well,
on.
it looks like it's. I was gonna say it's slick back, but that's pushed back. You think that's slick back? That's pushed back.
Curtis Lewa loves this guy.
Oh, Curtis Lewa is this fucking guy.
So
Um,
everybody's just talking about the blackout. Now, I wonder if Holguin lived in New York at the time he wrote this, because we did have a big blackout in 2003. I was 14 years old and it fucking ruled because all of like the local delis and grocery stores with a blackout, like the freezers don't work. So they
yeah.
give out ice cream. So I remember just like you just went around the town, like you just went around, like
Just
rode your
basically
bike
trick or
around,
treating
and
for
like
ice
yeah,
cream.
you just trick or treated, and kind of were like, oh, everything's crazy, and like it was fine after like a day, but like
I bet that was hell on earth for someone on the other side of Queens.
there was like looting and stuff like that did
Yeah.
happen, but yeah, it was, I don't know, it was a weird like day and a half before they got the grid back on. And it was I think the whole Eastern Seaboard. It wasn't just New York. We were just
Yeah.
part of that power grid, so
Right. Yeah,
it
I
is
think I
what it
remember
is.
that. Meanwhile, we cut to the actual riot that's happening. I like this double page spread
Me
quite a
too.
bit. This is a great example of
Super
how and
dynamic.
why the specific like centered action isn't just in the middle of the page. It's kind of spread out. We get the cool sort of like was the person like lifting the car and like tearing it apart as kind of the frame, and it's just like clowns going ape shit. I love the clown carrying a pie riding on a clown pig.
Yeah. There, it's just kind of bonkers, and it's totally the kind of thing where you're just like, it's an all out ride. If you look way in the back on the left side, there's like a cop punching somebody.
Yeah,
Like everything has just been thrown to the wolves here. There's a sign that says "Shart."
yes, it does.
It's a little bit obscured, but you know, there's just it's just really fun. I love this guy in the foreground in his boxers, I guess, with like big giant boots,
Oh yeah,
blowing
yeah,
a bubble gum bubble.
yeah.
It's cool.
Looking like straight out of Mad Max.
And we go right into another double page spread that is in the shape of Clown's face in a lot of ways, very J.H. Williams the third later
Yes,
on in time with
I
Sam.
like this double page spread again.
This one also good. It doesn't have too much dialogue. There's a lot of images that tell us what's going on. It feels frantic. It feels crazy.
And once again,
Sam and Twitch in the foreground.
you're not trying to figure out what's going on in that crease, you
Yeah,
know.
it's just
And
a
like,
little bit
okay,
off center.
it's exacerbated, of course, that issue by the fact that the omnibi are quite thick, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of not a lot of space to move the spine. That said, even in a regular like stapled floppy 20-22 page
You would
comic,
have to like smooth it out to really see everything.
and it's still not going to align, that is the place where
Yeah.
like it's going to be least aligned. So it's pleasing to an artist, and it's cool if you see, you know, you get to see it, but it's hard to see it. So yeah, Sam and Twitch, they're kind of jumping into the fray as all the clowns are like kind of going apeshit across the city. We cut to Spawn. I love how Spawn is almost like melting on the ground, like his face is almost like, you know, kind of like it looks like his symbiote is kind of running a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit. And then as he picks himself up he realizes that everything terrible is happening. He has a thought that says, "What did the clown?" He's basically like, "What did the clown mean when he said that was just the beginning? I haven't begun to break you. What could he have meant by that?" I like this page. Really love the colors on this page. Actually, like the depth of field with the different hues for the foreground and background. Really nice color holds.
We haven't really even gotten into the coloring too much across these issues so far, but the colors have been solid across the board. Coloring and lettering is kind of the thing that if you're not talking about it, it's it's doing the job. If you
Orzakowski a little bit back on form too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's because the art's, like, a little bit more straightforward. I think he
Yeah,
struggles when Holguin and McFarlane give him really Holguin because he's writing the script, right? When Holguin gives him a ton of stuff that has to get on the page because the art needs it to communicate anything, uh, we get into a little bit of trouble here. Uh,
yeah,
but
and,
with no hero in sight, Spawn is sort of like taking lay of the land, and he's seeing these like clowns attacking people in their cars and grabbing at them, and
yeah.
he decides he needs to do something about it. And I like
Says
I like Hero Spawn. I think it's always really cool, and I really like this panel with him with his like arms flexed behind him, almost like he's like charging up. It's a weird panel because we don't often see him from this angle, I guess. But I think it works really, really well.
I like this beat too, where Spawn's like, "Leave them alone,"
Yeah.
and they go, "Absolutely," and charge him.
Charge him anyway.
One of them's hitting him with a mallet. He's like punching one of them apart. There's this whole fight going on. There's a guy down here in the corner who looks almost like Houdini, hitting him with a sledgehammer. He's got his
I
chains,
was
his own
thinking the
chains
same
wrapped
thing. I
around his
was like,
neck.
is Houdini here?
That's just exactly what it looks like, and I think that's maybe just coincidence.
By the way,
Um,
does Spawn so Spawn we talked about this a little bit before. He doesn't weigh 500 pounds right now, right?
I think he does when he's Spawn.
Got it. Okay. But when he's Al, he doesn't? Or does he weigh like does he weigh the same that he weighs as Al as Spawn? Like he's not
No, I
500
think
pounds of necroplasm.
no, I think when he turns into Spawn now, his body turns into like necroplasm and like gets to be 500 pounds. And when he's not Spawn, when he's Al, I think it's just normal.
Okay.
Because we
Uh,
saw that he had like red blood
yeah. All
and
right.
that he was injured.
Good no
So
prize explanation.
I like Spawn tossing these guys on his chains. Uh
Before the Houdini kind of guy kind of jumps through, and as Spawn's like, "Where's your ringleader?" and he says, "Haven't you figured it out, sweet boy? I'm everywhere." And what we're starting to realize is that Clown has kind of put a little bit of himself in everybody that he infects.
Right. And that is a little like that is quite a lot like the Billy Kincaid thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's also like the vampire thing. You know, there was a point where I was reading this where I was like, this has a very Spider Man kind of feel. And it does, but
Yeah.
it's not as unique as it almost could seem at first blush by the clown um aesthetic that's applied to it.
Yeah,
So
in a lot of ways, what this story ends up being very close to for more modern readers who maybe haven't read this but have read more modern comics is Spider Island.
mm,
The Onslaught Spider Island, where it's like everybody becomes a spider person. Great, here we go. City goes into fucking craziness. Uh, there's a lot of punching and fighting, and
yeah.
it's fine. We cut to Nyx, and she realizes that she can sense Spawn again. And she's like, "Oh fuck, I got to get to him. Like, let's go." And she's obviously stopped by Mammon.
Yeah, she gets in an elevator that is still working despite the blackout. And who is waiting there but Mammon? And he says, "Hello, my dear. Going down, are we?" Meanwhile, we cut back to the city, scenes of clowns going crazy everywhere. There's a nun chasing someone with a
That one's
hot
funny.
iron. People are beating Spawn with chairs. There's a butcher just like beating up his own china shop, or I guess he's not a butcher. He's just a guy. I don't
I
fucking
think it's
know.
an antique
He's
store, and he's got like a
he's wearing a
sword.
mortar. He's wearing a mortar
Who
board.
knows? This is where the art's like, some of it's really cool, and some of it you're like, what am I looking at? I don't actually know.
Some of it's just vibes.
Yeah, I like the close up of the eye crying that has like the
Yeah.
clown in it. That's really cool.
Hmm.
Trust dissolves, animal instinct takes over. I like that. That's fun.
Meanwhile, Clown's many forces are beating the shit out of Spawn. They knock him to the ground, and this really big guy comes over and picks him up. Um, he
What
takes
wrestling
him.
move is that?
It's a pile driver.
Is a pile
Gives him
driver?
the tombstone pile driver, just like the Undertaker.
Nice.
Fucking. The funny thing is, you can tell this was taken from an actual reference
Because his arms are behind his legs, right?
because his arms are hooked behind
Because
his
that's how you would
knees.
brace yourself so that you don't break your neck.
Exactly what
Yes.
is ideally supposed to happen in a tombstone pile driver is that the head is placed between the thighs of the person who is holding, who is going to do the pile driver. The, recipient of the pile driver holds the back of the legs and theoretically drops down so that really you're just holding their head in place.
And slamming the rest of their body.
Right. And so theoretically it's easy to avoid injury.
Got it. Like you
Um
hinge kind of at your arms so that it
right.
looks bad, but you are not
But
hurt.
what's happening is your shoulders are impacting their
Right.
thighs
Right.
and your head is not taking minimal force. So that's what happens to Spawn, except it's a full-on pile driver. Meanwhile, Sam and Twitch are kind of like fighting for their lives out in the streets, trying to figure out what to do. When all of a sudden, the body of a young black man falls in their car,
Yeah.
pushed by one of the clowns from
Right.
up on a roof. They decide to get an ambulance, but Twitch is like, no, it could take hours to get him there. We better take him ourselves. Which theoretically, they have the way to get, they have the sirens and everything, and they'd only have to go one way instead of coming there to get them and
But
going
also
back.
it is a blackout, and so like they don't need to just stay in Manhattan. They have to get him to a hospital. We're to believe
Right,
that
in another borough.
the blackout is only affecting Manhattan.
Right.
So it is localized. So the outer boroughs still have power. So there, it would take them a little. It would. That's why it would take an ambulance longer, but it will still
Yeah.
take them a long time.
So this young man has fallen on their car and is not dead but is seriously hurt when all the neighbors come out to see what's going on. And they are understandably quite upset to see two white police with a brutally injured black
Yeah,
teenager
it doesn't look great.
on their car. And they start ginning up a mob around them. Like, despite what's actually happening, Sam and Twitch are saying, like, hey, disperse, disperse. We're going to take care of this. They're not taking kindly to that. Twitch says, back off. This is police business. We don't want trouble. And the guy who's kind of pissed off at them and leading the group of people, the people that believe that Sam and Twitch hurt this kid. They say, tough luck, Scarecrow, because you and your fat friend just bought a truckload. Meanwhile, Memon is taunting Nyx. It's that page we quoted at the beginning
Yeah.
where he's saying, I won't lie to you. He says, I'll be perfectly honest. I would lie to you in a heartbeat, which is quite a sentiment. He's trying to convince her to help, and she's saying no. She's kind of refusing.
One of the things that she's not really interrogating is, well, she does a little bit. She's just like, why can't you do it?
Yeah.
But she doesn't go deeper, and she doesn't really press him about it because she still has this guilt about her friend, and she still wants to. She's really weighing these options, and I think this is really the most human moment of this whole arc is her kind of struggling with this,
Yeah.
which I think generally works, but it's a little slow, I suppose. Um,
Yeah. Spawn is collecting himself up on a rooftop. I like that series of 3 panels.
Yeah, it's great.
Again, the colors are looking really good on that page, and this bottom fight with the clowns guy throwing a trash can. I can't tell if this guy in the bottom right with clown makeup that says "Get back, asswipe! I swear to God, I'll blow your brains all over Times Square." He's also aiming at another clown, so I can't tell if the clowns are fighting each other or if that guy's not supposed to have clown makeup. Either way, Spawn himself. What do you think?
I think that they're just going crazy.
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
think that's really what it is.
Yeah,
Is that like as clowns influence spreads throughout more and more people that they now get triggered by any sort of like, oh, you bumped into me, I'm going to shoot you in the face.
yeah,
Oh, you're
probably.
going to
I
shoot
mean,
me in the
just
face,
absolute
I'm going to
chaos.
throw a trash can at you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's all it is. An okay no prize. But we cut back
Um,
to again, Spawn's watching all of this, but we see Clown and he says, "What's the matter, handsome? Why so glum? Aren't you enjoying our evening's entertainment? I'll be the first to admit you're holding up better than I expected. Gold star for Spawny." But it's starting to sink in, isn't it? All the little
and
pieces are falling into place. Sometimes you just have to take a step back from the canvas and look at the bigger picture. See it now? You're trapped in a corner, no moves left, no way of winning. But you still got to play out your hand.
it's like this big screen, like Times Square
Yeah.
style screen with clowns' weird gaping maw on it, looking very Pennywise now with
He's
this
also
weird
looking a
sharp
lot more
fang.
clown than he is
Yes,
Jason Wynn.
absolutely. We get this. Okay, this is
Yeah,
the
here we go.
this is another double page spread where everything around Spawn is cool. It's just showing the chaos unfold. There's maybe a few too many captions, but I do like the guy in the bottom right who's wearing an ABBA shirt, I think.
There's a couple of things, and we'll get into in the next issue. There's an Emma Nen
Uh
shirt.
huh.
So I think this guy's literally wearing a "buh" shirt.
Maybe so. Um, but Spawn in the middle is just cut in half again.
Yeah, I know. It's a
And it's
bummer.
just so frustrating
It's a bummer.
because, like,
It's a cool
I
rendering
bet
too.
those look great in posters, but you're not getting it that way. Meanwhile, Spawn is trying to get back in the game, and he is just given a mean mug at the very last page. That's it.
Well,
That's it. It ends with just like a big
the
close up
important
of
thing
Spawn's
here,
eyes.
in the narrative captions is that it says, he's contemplating what to do. The whole city is on fire. I mean, Manhattan's on fire. It's not the whole city, but
Right.
Manhattan is on fire. And it says, where do you even begin? Even if you have the strength, even if you weren't a sad, broken shell of your former self, there are just too many of them. You can't save everyone, can you? So who are you going to choose? Better run along, hero. The clock's ticking. Your city needs you.
So he does what any good superhero would do, and he runs to a gun store and steals a bunch of military grade weaponry
Yeah.
to use against the people of the city.
It's the end of that episode, so we're end of that issue, so we're into a new one.
Well, Pierce, it's time for Spawn number 138, so hit me with those credits.
The great thing is that they're exactly the same. However, the dedication is for an Andy Horn, who I believe was a stunt person just in general. At
Great.
this point, had been in Bad Boys 2, Virtual Weapon, and Plato's Run. Not sure what else.
Great.
So, again,
Hard
must
job.
have met Todd McFarlane at some point. But yeah, all the this is an era of very consistent creative teams. The one thing that is inconsistent is Crime Lab Studios. Once that's the credit, we just don't know who's working on what. This and like this book having 3 named inkers plus uh, an army of unnamed ones. You feel it
Yeah.
sometimes.
So Spawn busts into a gun armory, like a gun shop, and steals a bunch of weapons and just starts kind of turning them on people.
Which
Now,
again, we've kind of seen before.
yes, and we will learn more consequences of it. But look at this spread. I want to show you how fucking awful this looks. and I hate to get so critical, especially of a format issue, but this is a gorgeous double page spread that I wish I could see any of what Spawn is doing, because the entire body
Yeah, it
is
gets
cut
eaten
in
up.
half. It's awful. And like there's not a lot that can be done about that in terms of like how to fix the omnibus, but it is just, why is he doing this so much in these last few issues? It is very frustrating and hard to
I
read.
think this is where we're seeing where Capullo, with his, because he has an advertising background, right, is much more aware of composition and how it's going to read in print
Yeah,
versus somebody who's like complete rule of cool, gonna do the coolest thing.
yeah,
And you know, Medina, this is kind of what Medina's always done. If you, even if you look at his Spider-Man stuff, it's all straight down the middle, straight down. You know, like it's just,
yeah,
that is what he does. It's super dynamic if you can flatten it out. It probably looks great in what he's drawing when it's on his table, but it just does not always translate.
yeah.
And
There's this moment with Thea and Maman where he's still trying to convince her to sell out Spawn, and she's kind of refusing. And he says, "My dominoes don't fall because they want to. They fall because they're next in line. Fate leads the willing Knicks. The unwilling, it drags." And then he kind of taunts her. He's telling her, like, "Do you know that heaven, do you know why heaven is a pristine, seamless paradise while hell is carved up in the feuding little fiefdoms?" He says it's because hell is stronger, and if they could ever get their shit together to team up against heaven, they would easily win. And let me tell you, that is what we as a nation need to do as Satanists, is rise up and kill God so that we can finally be free. So meanwhile, back over where the accident was, where, or not even an accident, but where the guy was pushed off the roof, tensions are heating up intensely.
yeah, because one
The
of the talking
people
heads has a whole body, turns out.
That's true. But we'll see more of her in a second. The angry group of people about the kid who fell on Sam and Twitch's car heating up. This whole sequence here, where it's like the mob kind of coming together, and I don't, mob is kind of a, while the group
We don't
of
mean it in a
people,
pejorative way. They are a
no,
group. They are a large group of
they're a rightfully
civilians
angry
who are
mob.
angry. So yes, they are a mob in the classical
Yeah,
definition of what a mob is.
this is a very do the right thing kind of moment with the blackout and
Yeah,
like the people, the racial tensions in particular
I mean it's like the
being
joke about the summer is like,
right,
oh, as soon it would just do the right thing. Also, it's like, oh,
right.
soon as the temperature starts going up, like people's
Yeah,
tempers
which
flare. You know.
exactly. Great fucking movie, by the way.
I have a recommendation later for that ties into it. So it's funny that you brought it up.
Fair enough. I bet I know what it is. Um, meanwhile, just as things are getting really bad, the news reporter, who is not Connie Chung, starts getting in Sam's face, and she says, "Is the NYPD using the blackout as an excuse to run rabid?"
which
Officer care to
which by the
comment.
way sounds like the most 2025 like conservative
Yeah,
weirdly conservative like theory of like, is the Democratic mayor now having the using the blackout to have his agents
yeah,
and it's like, what are you talking about? And
yeah. No.
she's a bad
Um,
journalist is what we're learning.
yeah, but the crowd gets even more angry and keyed up, and Sam is saying, you know, he says, "Go drown yourself, you self-serving bitch," and the crowd is like, "You didn't just say that."
Well, they're
And just
feminists.
as, yeah, well, of course they are. They're true allies. Twitch starts pointing his gun at the crowd and says, "Look, we tried doing this the polite way." And just then a helicopter shows up and disperses them.
I
Meanwhile,
really like that
the
shot actually.
I do like that shot. And meanwhile, the reporter just says, "This ain't over, fat ass," as she runs away. and Twitch was about to start opening fire on them.
Here's the thing. He's a really good shot, so I don't think he was going to hit anybody.
But he's also a fucking loose cannon at this point, so he
That is
might have.
true. No, but he's incredibly accurate. So I wonder if he was going to shoot something nearby to scare them.
Yeah. Well, back in the hellfire and brimstone chaos socialist hellscape of Manhattan, things are getting even more clownish as Spawn makes his way into a subway car where one of the clowns is clinking bottles and going, "Spawn, come out to play," which
Very
is, of
Warriors
course, a
reference.
reference to the Warriors. He's even clinking the three bottles together.
This this actually made me think like, oh, we did this wrong. It
Yeah,
should
like
have
the
if you wanted to do a Warriors riff with Spawn, where he's got a battle from somewhere to somewhere. I think it actually where he maybe keeps running into
yeah,
groups
more
of
interesting.
clowns or
And
whatever.
also, I don't know. The other thing is, you look at this group of clowns kind of grouped up on top of the subway car, and it's almost like you could have done just a clown family. Might have almost
Yeah.
even been
Or just
interesting.
like clown versions of his villains as the different gangs kind of, right? You do
Yeah,
like a bunch of
absolutely.
clown or fucking just do warriors. Like literally just do like
There
clown
are so many
baseball
weird little
guys.
gangs we
Yeah.
met in different early issues. Well, here, there's a guy in a bike helmet and like biking shorts jumping at Spawn with a jagged baseball bat, and Spawn turns around and just blasts a hole through this poor bike messenger. Uh, and it says, it's funny, they mention cordite again, the peal of gunfire, laughter of lunatics, the smell of cordite and engine oil. It's like they just learned that word.
Yeah.
I do like this part where it says, the gun in the hand, or the heat of the gun in your hands, the recoil hammering your shoulders. It's been a long time since you fired one of these. It feels good, natural, like riding a bike, a secret thrill you could never explain to anyone. Which is really interesting for like gun use, because I think that's on some level actually quite insightful about people who find a lot of power in firearms.
I think it's actually insightful about people who fire guns who thought they would never fire a gun. Is
Yeah,
that they do it and they go, oh, I,
I used to
I,
fire
I,
guns.
I recognize the weight of the thing that I'm doing and
Yeah,
the potential that it has. I'm talking about
yeah.
sane people who do this, that they
Right.
just go like, oh, I get that that felt good. Like I get the weird power dynamic that you have when
Yeah.
you are doing this, even at a target or even at like
Well,
a
a gun
clay
is the
pigeon.
most. There's a reason people want Batman to have a gun and they love the Punisher. It's because a gun is the most accessible superpower a person can get. It
Interesting.
is. So,
Interesting because I think it's knowledge.
wow, that's great. At the same time, Spawn is using knowledge to blow holes through all of these people. No, he's just blasting like fucking Danny DeVito. Meanwhile, a clown guy has taken a young girl hostage on the subway train. She is begging, "Please help me," and Spawn shoots the clown right in the face, but it doesn't help. And you know why? Because the little girl turns into a clown. And there's an old lady who turns into a clown. And it starts spreading all over the bus, which I kind of like this part. It's way more like terrifying for Spawn. I love the big chase scene where they run him down and steal his guns.
Yep.
That's a good double page spread. Really enjoy that. Um, Spawn's like still blasting them away. They're trying to keep the guns. And who should show up but more clowns? And the little girl who was turned into a clown picks up a gun and puts it to her head and says, "You didn't really think you were going to win, did you?" And we should have done a trigger warning, but you might guess what happens next.
Yeah. And this is where Spawn's at after the last issue, which is like, okay, who can you save? Is there anyone?
Yeah. And
I think it's a
this,
huge missed opportunity here to not involve Wanda and Terry,
yeah, I could see that.
because I don't think you have to kill them. I don't think that that needs to be there, or to have uh, uh, the way that Jason Wynn keeps getting these women who look like Wanda to make him think, to manipulate him and make him think like, oh my god, even Wanda has been affected, right? Like
Right.
there's a potential there for, like, does Spawn have to do the hardest thing? And maybe,
Right.
and probably as a misdirect, right? That he has to, like, put a
That
bullet
just
into
doesn't
somebody
feel
that,
like much emotional stakes here other than Clown hating
you
Spawn.
wanna know why? There's no internal monologue for Spawn. He's not
Yeah.
thinking, we're not hearing, and we're used to hearing
We
what he
get a
thinks
little
about
bit
things.
of it,
Yeah, a
but
little
not
bit.
but not in a direct way.
Yeah.
What happens next is someone pulls a grenade from Spawn, sets it off in the subway car, and Spawn escapes just at the last second. This is a huge conflagration. And this is one of the most gut wrenching parts where it says that the people who have been turned into clowns, just as the moment of their death, they reawaken as people just long
Yeah.
enough to
It's brutal.
suffer, which is tough. It's tough. And it's a big lesson for Spawn. He's saying, this time they aren't the cries of madmen. Their horrific cries of innocence suddenly return to their senses just in time to realize their fate. Those screams will never leave you. You thought you were a hero riding in to save the day. You thought you could make a
Well, this
difference.
is Clown also.
Yes, you're right. Sorry. It's kind of, yes. And it says, what does he say? He says, I warned you, didn't I? I have so many ways to destroy you. And we get Al just laying broken in a heap again on the ground.
Especially
And
in the background, you see another, like, just more violence continuing to happen. He hasn't fixed anything. He hasn't changed it.
nope,
And this is an arc that ends literally there.
it's tough. And I guess what I meant was oh god, what did I say? Spawn internal monologue. It is Clown's internal monologue voicing out Spawn's deep insecurities.
Right, right, right,
And
right. But we're not getting this. So that's one of the things that's like a little different here than what we've gotten before, is that from the outset, we've always gotten like Spawn's like, what am I doing here? Or like, what's going on?
yeah,
What's
and here
happening?
we're getting little glimpses of him, but not much.
Yeah. Uh so I don't have back matter for these. Final thoughts on 1,000 Clowns.
I can tell that we are starting to get into the era of just the style of comic writing that is sort of writing for the trade, so to speak,
Okay,
where this is did not need to be 5 parts,
sure.
but longer form stories like that are getting more popular in this era.
Mm,
Like you're getting more 5 to 6 story or 5 to 6 issue arcs than 2 to 3 issue arcs. And they weren't unheard of before, but that's becoming the standard. This is really the era when that was becoming the standard for what comics would be, was a story would take 5 to 6 issues
or like you get 2 3 issue arcs back to back just
that
to,
are kind of, but because of that, some of the issues start to just feel like connective tissue because it starts to be like, oh, excuse me, it starts to be like, oh, we have to tell a 5 part story.
right.
We know where it starts, we know where it ends. We got to fill up 3 issues instead of 1 issue in the middle because we've gotten like 2 to 3 issue arcs mostly before.
Yeah.
And almost every 5 part arc we've had has been about like this kind of thing, like a big mob. And again, I don't hate the story. In some ways, it feels a lot like a Spider-Man story where he's like desperately fighting against the tide. But clearly, the end of this is the beginning of the next thing
Yeah.
in a way that even more than usual with Spawn, where it's not like setting up a new status quo that we're like kind of returning to. It is leaving Spawn slash Al in a specific place that he has to work through. That is leaving him in a moment, not
Mm,
even in a like resolution. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
I don't know how I feel about this arc overall. I'll be honest.
we breeze through a lot of the fighting because
I mean,
a lot of it is just Violator throwing Spawn around.
I mean,
Looks cool, sort of in a lot of places, but
I think that it is a lot of what you said. Listen, I think this arc has more double page spreads than any single arc has had, no matter
and
the
it has
length.
been a detriment.
And it has been a detriment. I think that the Marvel method is not necessarily working for something like this because I
I
don't
think
think
especially when you have to fill up extra pages.
right. And despite the fact that like at this point, Angel Medina is in his like early 40s, like he's worked in the industry for quite a while, but I don't think that I
The
don't think
inking,
that his instincts are as sharpened as Capullo's. I think
I
he's a
agree with
good
that.
artist, and I'm not trying to say like Angel Medina is terrible or anything like that.
No, but I also think that having an army of inkers, and this is something you mentioned
Yeah,
earlier, and I think you're right about, you don't get the level of care that like okay, as Danny Miki and Greg Capullo work together more and more and more closely, you could see Miki getting and understanding
yeah,
how to ink Capullo to make it as clear as possible. Now Capullo, as much as he liked to push superhero anatomy, was not doing what Medina does where shit's just usually a bundle of like angles and limbs.
yeah.
I don't even hate that style. I just think a lot of the time the inking sells it short, where you're not getting the separations of planes and layers and levels and textures. You're just kind of all jumbled up. So, like, sometimes it'll look like the arm and the boot are one thing.
And I think it also makes it confusing for the colorists. Like I
Yes,
think if the line weight ends up being something that they're like, oh, that's an arm and it's a leg instead, they treat it a certain way because they're thinking the anatomy in a different way. You know, uh,
right.
this arc, I know it's supposed to sort of put Clown back on the map as a more significant villain, and I think that that's fine. As we've read in many letters, people have been asking for Violator. Uh,
I like again. I like the Violator Jason Wynn
Me
combo.
too.
I think that this didn't need to be 5 issues.
Agreed. It could have been 3, but uh, it's not about what we would have done,
No, it's
you
not.
know.
But I
And
mean, it is about economy of story and about the fact that a lot of it felt like spinning its wheels to fill
but we're
space in
also
a lot
very
of
much
places.
entering that era of comics, right?
Exactly.
Where to,
That's
yeah,
exactly what I was
like you
saying.
were saying, 2004, and especially considering the pedigree of what the Spawniverse has been to this point, Brian Uncle
Yeah,
Bendis was cutting his teeth already, and he's moved on,
absolutely.
and he's an Avengers writer now
And Avengers is 5 to 6 issue
with
arcs.
Brian Hitch.
Well, no, not Brian Hitch. That was Ultimates.
Oh,
That was
excuse
David
me,
Finch. David
David
Finch.
Finch. That's what I meant. Fine, but even still, fairly widescreen, like widescreen storytelling is
Oh, very modern superhero
right.
comics. Like it's in a that style of comics is in its like formative
I
stage.
think that that's
Absolutely.
actually what I'm reading a little bit in this arc is, oh, we have to go big, we have to go wide, we have to do the
Yeah.
thing that everybody's doing. But Spawn's never been that book in the same way. It used to be the
Right.
vertical double page spreads, right? It used to be the
Yeah.
posters, essentially.
Yeah.
It used to be the splash pages as the hottest thing that you could do. I think Medina hasn't quite mastered widescreen yet, but he's being told like go for it, go for it, go for it. So he defaults to centering, 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 forgetting that there's a
Yes.
there's a gutter
Agreed.
in the middle, you know. So
Agreed. It's a little bit of a lack of foresight, a little bit of a need to fill space, I think, and a little bit of an urge to want to draw a cool big Spawn
yeah,
and to have like the Violator in the middle. It just Gosh, those double page spreads are hard to read.
Yeah,
And
they're rough.
we talked about Bendis. There's an era of Bendis Avengers comics where like the comics were mostly double page spreads.
Oh yeah.
And it
Well, he was
started
writing
to get
11 books at a time, so
exactly. It just started to get so hard to read. Anyway, I think, we kind of agree this is a sort of a mid Spawn arc. It has its ups and downs. It has its tasty bits, but a lot of it is kind of just filler.
yeah. We've got another 3-issue arc up next, so we'll see how that one works
Yeah.
out. It's called Hellbound.
2,000 clowns.
But
yeah.
2,000, yeah, and then 3,000 clowns, 4,000 clowns, et cetera, et cetera.
It's a
et cetera.
franchise. It's the Thousands of Clowns franchise.
Before we go, George, you have any recommendations for our listeners today?
Let's see. Go outside.
Touch some grass.
Literally, go outside and touch some grass. Enjoy the fact that hey ChatGPT, why is it 80 degrees in November? I don't know if it's like that up where you are, but it is summer weather down here.
It was cold today, this morning, but it's been like 50 for a while.
Anyway, go outside, get some sunshine, get some fresh air, see a tree.
Hell yeah. My recommendation is Spike Lee's Inside Man.
I knew that's what you're going to say. Haven't watched it yet, but I do have a screener.
Oh, really?
Or wait, hold on. Is that an old one?
Yeah.
Am I thinking? Sorry, he has a movie that just came out.
Highest to Lowest.
Yes.
Different. That's a different Denzel.
I don't know why.
I recommend that as well, but I recommend it only as a double feature with the Kurosawa movie. Because it is a remake of Kurosawa. But Inside Man, completely original, 2005, 2006. Denzel Washington, Clive Owen, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Jodie Foster, Willem Dafoe. Kind of crazy stacked cast. And for my money, one of the best heist movies of all time. And I love a heist. I love a heist film.
Nice.
I think it is, and also like Denzel's just so naturalistic and great.
He's a great actor.
I mean, brave of you to say that.
I know.
Yeah,
it's a hot take.
It's a pretty hot take. It's flaming hot. But no, rewatched Inside Man the other night, and a movie I've seen a million times. And despite knowing everything about it, I'm just still so entertained. So that's my recommendation. On that note, if you like the show, please rate, review, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We've been getting a lot of. Well, we won't get into it this episode because it's already long. When we have a shorter one, we'll get into some of the comments we've got on some past episodes on Spotify. Nothing bad. They're all fun. But leave some comments. Send us an email, spawnographypod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And we'll read stuff on air. George, for Todd so loved the world.
He gave his only begotten Spawn.
See you later, Hellspawn.
Spawnography!
Spawnography is recorded in Athens, Georgia, and Queens, New York. It's produced by me, Pierce Ladden. Our theme music and logo were composed by George Marston. Episodes come out every Monday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like the show, please rate, review, subscribe. You can find us on social media at Spawnography or at SpawnographyPod. If you'd like to reach out to us directly, you can do so at spawnographypod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and until next time, see you later, Hellspawn.